That's
Hello
my new thing.
and welcome to a very special edition to the Nerd Card. We are talking about Rick and Morty.
Yes, sir.
And we are also introducing, for the very first time on the podcast, a special guest. Chuck, give us our intro.
So today we have with us Mikey J, a friend and, relative of mine. And he is joining us today for Rick and Morty, as he is an expert, in my opinion, in Rick and Morty, and he's kind of the one who got me into it. So we decided to go out with our first guest here in the Nerd Card and welcome Mikey J.
Well, thank you for having me, gentlemen. I'm really excited to be here.
Not a problem. And thank you for bringing the props that you brought.
It's outstanding.
That is cool stuff. We have a Meeseeks box.
We do.
So basically what we're going to be doing is we're just going to hit the Meeseeks box and let the Meeseeks do the episode. It'll be great.
Out. Just keep your requests simple. They're not gods. Get out of here.
I don't think that worked. All right, so I guess we should actually...
They're not gods. They're Phil.
I suppose we should...
It's harder for us than you, Jerry.
Oh, we're well past that, Jerry.
I suppose we should actually do an episode then.
Yeah, we probably should. Be a good idea.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Seeing as how Rick and Morty is coming out season 5 on June 20th at 11 p.m. on Adult Swim.
June 20th. We're very much looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Let's dive right in, man. This starts out as, and I've described it as a, well, I don't want to use the word.
Well, let's just say this before we get started. Normally we're pretty non-sweary kind of guys. We're probably going to swear a little bit in this show just because, Rick Sanchez swears like a motherfucker.
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs to him. Earmuffs. And you can say fuck, shit, bitch, whatever you want.
Cock, balls.
Okay, I'm just proving a point. You don't have to celebrate it, Frank.
Right. So let's go ahead and leave the kids out of this one. And then I will go ahead and say this is a fucked up Doctor Who.
Language.
In my opinion.
I knew you couldn't wait to equate it to Doctor Who.
I couldn't wait.
Phil loves Doctor Who.
I'm not the only one, though.
Rain loves water.
I'm not the only one. Rick Sanchez actually says...
Doctor Who in this motherfucker.
He's going to Doctor Who this motherfucker. Yeah, I know.
I'm Doctor Who in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He does.
One time.
Yeah, he does one time. But you know what? It happens throughout... The entire arc of the series is about... It's interdimensional travel.
Sure, and he's got a companion. And he's the smartest man in the universe. He's an interdimensional time lord, I guess you could say.
There's a lot of parallels.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's parallels, but the biggest one, the elephant in the room, is 100% Back to the Future.
Oh, for
Morty
sure.
McFly.
For sure, yeah.
Morty McFly.
Morty McFly.
Morty McFly.
Morty. Hey, McFly.
Yes,
Morty
all right.
McFly.
So that's in there now. Morty McFly. It happened.
Honestly, they could make an episode on it. Oh, jeez, Rick, I gotta get to school.
Darth Vader Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan last night and told me he was going to melt my brain.
Season.
Yes,
the opener,
you son
he's
of a
going to be
bitch, I'm
hoverboarding
in.
to school. That's just what he's going to be doing.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, obviously the mad scientist, young boy kind of thing, that's definitely very Back to the Future. It is.
For sure, yeah. I mean, but Rick Sanchez is a much more fun Doc Brown.
Yes.
Doc Brown's pretty neurotic and crazy.
Well,
Rick's crazy, and Rick's a giant asshole.
Well, I think the biggest difference between them is Doc Brown is actually worried about maintaining the space-time continuum, whereas Rick
doesn't give a shit.
Really care.
No,
yeah,
Rick's about what's going to benefit Rick.
What the fuck? We just teleported into a galactic federal prison. I'm gonna go take a shit.
Right.
More than anything else.
Yeah, without
Of course,
a doubt.
there are infinite Ricks, and they all care about what's going to benefit them as well.
Yes, but the show centers around
Our
Rick
C-137. That's our Rick, yeah.
That's our Rick.
And he's the biggest asshole of all the Ricks.
So they say. And the biggest enemy of the Citadel of Ricks. Yes. Yeah. Which is, of course, this large organization of Ricks from alternate dimensions, universes, and they try to get everything together. Just as an aside, gentlemen, I think it'd be appropriate if any of us have to belch while we're talking. I think that'd be great.
Honestly, I'm glad that they kind of toned that down as the series went.
By season 2, it was pretty low, and then by season 3, he doesn't. Almost never does it.
In the first season, when I was watching it, I was texting with Mikey. I'm like, what the fuck is with all this belching?
Well,
it's important.
In the first season, it was every other word.
I know, and I'm like, dude.
Well, the season opener is he wakes Morty up, blackout drunk. He's going, Morty, we gotta get in my car, Morty. I'm in a bomb, Morty.
Right.
Yeah, and it was, I'm like, the show's funny, but I hate all the belching. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I think it adds to Rick's character. I think it's just, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
I mean, as it goes, they refine the characters more and more, right?
Without a doubt,
the first episode is just called Pilot, so clearly it was a proof of concept episode to see if it was something that would take off, and it did.
Sure. Oh, sure, yeah.
And then the series really, truly starts with the second episode, I would say.
I don't disagree.
In that whole first season, you really see, I think the first season has the most stark progression of the characters, like showing a difference of how they are in the first couple episodes to how they are at the end of the season.
Sure.
They all continue to grow through all 4 seasons that we've seen so far, but I think you can see the biggest difference as you watch the first season between the characters of how they started out than how they are at the end of the season.
Sure, I'd agree.
In my opinion.
Mikey, your thoughts?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing when it comes to like the growth of the characters and the arc is just look at season 1 Rick to season 4 Rick at the end of season 4.
Yeah,
huge difference.
Especially how much it's season 1. Rick doesn't give a shit about anything, and by the end of it, he'll never admit it on camera, on vocal or whatever. But he cares about Morty, and you can see that in the background. Yeah. He cares about Beth, but he doesn't have it in him to admit it.
And he'll never admit it in front of anyone.
And the other Ricks give him shit about that when they have the opportunity. He's like, you care about your Morty?
Season 3
right, how dare you?
Morty's, when the Citadels capture Morty and Summer, they're going, Ricks hate themselves, and our Rick is the most themselves. That's why the Citadel hates our Rick.
Yeah.
It's because our Rick is the most themselves. He's the rogue. He's the one that actually cares about him. He won't admit it, but he cares about his Morty, Summer, and his Beth.
Absolutely.
And you see that growth throughout the seasons, but you see it in the other characters as well. Obviously, in terms of family, they all pretty much care about each other. I mean, you got Summer and Morty. They're the average teenagers. They don't really give a shit about their parents. But you've got their parents who are loving in the first episode, loving throughout the first season, and then kind of have a little bit of split over time.
What?
Yeah, they're on a break.
They were on a break. They bringing friends into this. Okay, we're bringing friends into this.
We're on a break.
It was right there. I mean, I had to do it. I mean,
that was quite a pivot, Chuck.
You're welcome. Pivot.
Pivot. Anyway, but then eventually it becomes one loving, cohesive family unit, and so much so that in season 4 we see them adventuring together. Everybody's out and doing their own thing together.
Yeah, but Jerry's always a Jerry.
Shaboom boom. Sorry. Just trying to get the hang of this thing.
Well, Jerry is Jerry. Jerry is beautifully portrayed by Chris Parnell.
Yeah.
He's just a spacey dude that just can't get it together, man.
I mean, he's a tool.
He's a tool.
The weird thing with Jerry, though, is that his character development in the series, it's just more him being more Jerry. It's not really growth as a character. It's just more qualities that you associate with the term Jerry now.
Yeah, but that's the growth of the character.
Yes.
Is to be more Jerry.
Exactly.
He becomes more, I don't want to say a caricature of himself, but he's more embedded into that character every time there's an episode. Every single time.
I mean, when are we going to get Jerry in the invisible dump truck?
That'd be
or garbage
great.
truck, I should say.
I mean, we had about...
That's their second spinoff.
It's a new series. It's a new
30
franchise.
seconds of it.
Somebody call for a pickup. Let's go take out the trash.
Invisible garbage truck Jerry. It's a new franchise. Until he runs out of gas.
Yeah. Until he runs out of gas.
Until he runs out of gas. Awesome. You know what? That's worth noting as well. So every single episode does have a stinger at the end, except for the pilot. And they're always worth watching. They always contribute to the story, and most of them are fourth wall breaking as well.
And the first time I watched the series through, I didn't know that.
No, I remember the text.
Yeah, so I turned them off, and then the next time I watched it, I've watched this series too, probably 6 or 7 times at this point.
Sure.
I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I watch those. Because they're pretty funny. I mean, some of them are pretty long. The one about the invisible garbage truck, I think that was the season 4 finale.
Yeah.
Is pretty long. I mean, that's like 20, 30 seconds.
Easily. It's a good 30 seconds. And it's hilarious. It adds to the story. It's funny stuff. All of those, and a lot of them, like I said, are fourth wall breakers, where we have Rick telling the audience, we'll be back for season 2 in about a year and a half, or
Mr. Poopy Butthole. It was an end of credit scene doing the same. We'll be back in another year and a half.
Oh, you guys surprised I'm real? We'll see you back here in about a year and a half, probably.
Right. And that's so great. It's such a great
season
way.
That's season 1.
That's season 1.
Roll credits. Fuck it. We're done. Roll credits.
And I believe season 2, he claims that they're going to live forever and just keep making shows.
9 years, Morty. 9 years.
I don't care if it takes 10 seasons. We're going to get that Mulan Szechuan sauce.
That's a Szechuan
3
sauce.
opener, actually, now I'm thinking of it.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
Nobody gets it. Nothing you think matters. This isn't special. This is happening infinite times across infinite realities.
And it's so funny, too, because that show...
Bring back that Szechuan.
Rick and Morty actually did it.
Yeah.
They have such a cultural impact that they actually brought
McDonald's
back.
was having like limited amounts and people were lining up at the store.
Stores, they ran out and they had to restock it and do another special day.
They were selling gallon jugs of it.
And one of your favorite guys guest starred on that episode.
Wow, this sauce is fucking amazing. You said it was promoting a movie?
I'm sorry?
One of your favorite guys guest starred on that episode.
Oh, Nathan Fillion. Yes.
Yeah, he's Goram Shiny.
Captain Mal being Goram Shiny on Rick and Morty, man. He was killing it in that one.
The sauce is fucking great.
You're really going to do this bit while your brain's melting?
That brings it to a great point, though. There are so many guest stars in this show.
I, was counting the number of name guest stars in the show.
Oh, I'm loving to hear this.
Near 40.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane number.
I mean, Matthew Broderick is the cat who did evil, unspeakable things.
That's so
Patton
great.
Oswalt's Beta 7.
He is Beta 7. Christina Hendricks is Unity.
Yeah.
Yes, Christina Hendricks. Another Firefly alum.
Jeffrey Wright is the guy who took a dump on Morty's toilet.
Yes, he is. We have Alfred Molina.
Yeah, as the Satan.
As Satan.
I might be saying this wrong, but he directed Thor Ragnarok.
Taki Waititi. You want to make an app?
You want to make an app?
I did. Oh, man, I didn't know that was
let's make an app.
That was Taka.
Yeah, and Sam Neill is the Emperor.
Yes, that's so great. There's actually, in that episode, there's a couple.
And Chandler Bing's father is his wife.
Yeah.
In that episode.
I didn't catch that one.
Just astounding. There are so many celebrity cameos in that. Yeah. And it's so fun because it is the animated series and it's just you're not seeing these people, so you have to kind of listen for their voices. Yeah. And if you get it, great. And if you don't, it's right there in the end credits. And it's so much fun to see that. And you can guess. And Nathan Fillion was one I nailed right off the bat.
Yeah, you know right away that's Nathan Fillion. Even before I watched Firefly, I knew that was Nathan Fillion when I heard him speak.
Yeah.
And then after watching Firefly, I'm like, oh, of course that's Mal.
Yeah.
He has the iconic voice. It's kind of hard to miss Nathan Fillion.
He does. And, he's lent his voice to not just Rick and Morty, of course. He is the voice of the Green Lantern in several animated series.
Alan Tudyk is another guest star.
Yes, he is. Yes, if we're talking Firefly alum, doesn't get much better than Alan Tudyk.
I love Alan Tudyk.
He's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So a lot of guest stars, a lot of fun adventures, a lot of... everything. Well, there is everything in this show.
It's a pretty mind-blowing show. I mean, I don't know how real any of the science is. I have not done any exploration of that.
They have a portal gun, so I'm going to go ahead and say that most of it's not all that real.
I understand that. But when you're talking theoretical physics, I don't know how much of that is accurate.
They didn't pull a Russo brothers and actually consult quantum physicists, if that's what you're asking.
Think about it. If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future. And your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
Exactly.
So Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, no, I don't think that they did, but I know that I've seen stuff out there on the internet of physicists actually looking at the show and watching it and commenting on it.
There are a lot of scientific principles that are mentioned throughout the show and actually explored throughout the show as well, like a Schrodinger's cat.
Since no one knows when or if the poison has been released, until the box is opened, the cat can be thought of as both alive and dead.
There's a billion cats.
Yeah, that one's hilarious.
All over the place.
That's right there behind us.
Yeah, there it is.
Cats.
So there is some science backing it up. I wouldn't say on par with like a show like Futurama, where Futurama had several PhDs on the writing staff and actually created their own language and all this other stuff. But Rick and Morty certainly does follow that spirit.
I mean, there is other languages on Rick and Morty. Wubba lubba dub dub is bird person speak.
In my people's tongue, it means, I am in great pain. Please help me.
That's correct. It is. There are other languages, whether or not they're coherent or not. Frankly, I think they do a great job with following continuity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even something as far back as the pilot is fair game in season 5, I would say.
Oh, yeah. And it's a show that, and they love to play on pop culture. The first, I think it was the season premiere, season 4, when they're on the train.
Oh, it's season 4.
When they're all,
the
season premiere, season 4, when they're all those different adventures. Don't worry, Morty, out there. That's not canon, Morty.
That's not canon. It could have been.
It could have been, yeah.
But the things that they pull, like one time when they pull Morty out of the pod and all the Ricks are like, get back in the pod. That stuff harkens back to other seasons. In particular, to me, what's at this point the most important episode in the series, in my opinion, is the Ricklantis Mixup. Season 3, episode 7.
Don't see.
No, but the Citadel adventure that you see there with all the different Ricks and the evil Morty.
Yes,
and that does come up
important.
later when Morty is elected president. The evil Morty that's elected president is that same Morty.
From season 1, I believe, was his original debut, right?
That's
Evil Morty?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Because it was they were doing like the spinoff of the Jet Li movie, The One, where
right.
There's a bunch of Ricks killing each other.
Yep.
And then it turned out it was Morty.
And that evil Morty ends up being president of the Citadel and in charge of all the Ricks.
Yeah. Well, that season 3, episode 7 is where you find that Morty controlling the Rick.
Yep.
They killed all the Ricks. Yeah.
It's insane stuff. You're absolutely right.
I know there was a lot of thought that was going to come back into play in season 4, and they really kind of haven't done anything.
I think they might touch on it in season 5, but Rick and Morty does a really good job of touching on their own lore a lot.
Yeah.
I want to say in season 1 or 2, when they're leaving, Morty's like, I'm the Mortiest Morty. Hey, Rick goes, don't get big head. I've seen like what happens to a cocky Morty. And he was referring to evil Morty or that style.
Right.
Sure.
There's a big fan theory that Evil Morty is C-137's original Morty. That's a big fan theory.
Well, no, he's dead, is he not?
C-137?
Original Morty that? Oh, no, he's not, right.
No, he put the reporter one in the airlock.
Right, yeah.
No, Evil Morty's still going.
Our Rick and Morty did not start out in the dimension we currently see them residing in.
No,
that's
they did
correct.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they started out as season 1, episode 6, Rick Potion number 9. Is where C-137 becomes Cronenberg world.
I love Morty, and I hope Morty loves me.
Yes, they do, because Morty was trying to get some tail from Jessica.
Hey there, Jessica. Whoa, oh, whoopsie.
Oh my God, Morty.
Well, yeah. Oh, Jessica.
I mean, he's always trying to get some tail from Jessica.
No matter what dimension. He's trying. At least he's got a type. He's got a type,
Well,
gentlemen.
he is consistent.
And maybe I'm like Morty because pasty redhead is my thing.
I didn't even know that.
Well, I'll tell you what, too.
Amy Pond, I mean, come on.
Yes, of course. Now, that's Karen Gillian for anyone
Nebula, the
wondering.
blue meanie.
Nebula. Listen, I had a whole bunch of dental appointments today, and it sucked. So that's why I can't talk. But also,
it's true.
We'll let it slide.
Thank you.
One time.
But also, there is an episode where Rick is looking for a zip tie, can't find one. finds some sort of magnetic device, sets it to zip tie, and a whole bunch of zip ties come in. And then, of course, he finds a zip tie and he gets it going. And
Morty's like, ooh.
Morty grabs it, and what flies to the garage?
Pasty redheads.
But a whole bunch of pasty redheads.
Yeah, baby.
So basically, we're seeing what 14-year-old Chuck would do with that technology.
That's
we're seeing
exactly
what
what's happening.
46-year-old Chuck would do with that technology. Let's just be honest.
That's so true. That's so true.
Let's be real. But it's interesting that so we always talk about C-137 Rick and Morty, but they don't live in C-137.
Not anymore. No.
Not anymore. Not for the bulk of the show.
Right, and that's their Citadel designation.
Absolutely. But we always identify that because we identify that, there's the thing to think about is the show portraying the dimension that they're currently living in as our dimension? Or is our dimension on the show the one that is now Cronenberg?
Oh man,
and that's the big fan debate. We don't know,
right?
And we're not going to know for a while.
Just like the one to really bake your noodle is, would you knocked it down if I hadn't said anything?
Well, there we're talking about the Matrix, and that's a whole other thing.
But it's kind of it's
very similar,
right?
Yeah. Oh, very similar. Yes.
And that's part of the fun I think that Roiland and Harmon have with the show, right? Is that there's infinite possibilities.
Yeah, well, and they want to spark that debate too. I mean,
sure.
They want to have their fans talking about it. They want to, they want people to say, no, C-137 is the universe they're in now.
But is it?
But it's not. Well,
I don't think it is because it's Rick J C-137 when we start. There's Morty C-137.
Yep.
And then they mess up the world, they Cronenberg it, and then they go to a new one because the bomb goes off. Morty has to bury himself.
And
yes.
actually,
he still hasn't recovered from it.
No, not at all.
Maybe they've gone to another one since because
you fucked with squirrels, Morty. We got a good 5 minutes before they're backing up on our ass, Morty. We have to pack up and move to a new reality, Morty. I said we can only do that a couple of times. We're fucked over here.
You fucked with squirrels, Morty.
Right.
You fucked with squirrels. We gotta find a whole new dimension. I told you we only do this a couple of times.
We can only do this a couple of times for a couple minutes, and then they'll be back.
We're at 1037 and a possible Doolittle.
Hello, little boy.
If you can hear us, we'll give you candy and wishes.
Oh, fuck.
We can make you fly. It's so great. So great. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I think there's a few times where they skedaddle. They just fucked it up too much and have to move on.
Right. So we don't really know how many. And honestly, I don't think they know either. I don't think they keep track of that. But because there's a lot of improvisation. So I wanted to talk about how with the improvisation we have the two interdimensional cable episodes.
Yes.
And then Morty's Mind Blowers.
Yes.
And just some of the dialogue in the interdimensional cable of those two guys.
It comes crashing into Earth, and what do you do then? It's two brothers and they're gonna. It's called Two Brothers. Two Brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
It's just you can hear them cracking. It's just two brothers.
It's just two brothers.
It's just so hilarious.
You can tell they were just ad-libbing in the booth.
The car would always win. It's just so great.
It's
those
silly.
episodes
They're hilarious.
Are
They're
so
great.
much ball fondlers.
Yeah. Oh. So what is especially funny for me is Interdimensional Cable 2. He's setting up the interdimensional cable box, and what are you doing?
Won't do.
Hey, what are you doing?
A sequel.
I don't understand.
Yeah, me neither. We pretty much nailed it the first time.
Pretty much nailed it the first time.
Yeah.
They did that with the third one, the Morty's, and we're gonna be doing this instead of Interdimensional Cable.
This is an Interdimensional Cable this year.
Intro.
Well, and that goes back to that fourth wall breaking. They're always doing that. And so they're very aware of what is happening, very aware that people are watching them. It's great. And it's so fun to see that. So fun to see that. And those episodes are great highlights of that.
Well, and it's a show that's really good at not taking itself too seriously.
Not at all.
Juxtaposing that against some very serious topics that they, at times you'll get in and go, damn, they went a little deep on that one.
Oh yeah,
they do that all the time.
And you're like, you're all laughing and haha and guffaw, and then you're like, well, damn guys,
Right.
He just made it real.
Yeah, and that brings us back to the point of Futurama being kind of the predecessor to that.
Yeah.
Is Futurama was always that way. It was always silly. It was, without the F-bombs and whatever else, but it was always silly, but it always made a point that hit home. Futurama is one of the very few cartoon series to make me cry.
Yeah.
And Rick and Morty definitely falls in that category. They actually do have good enough writing that's going to hit you in the feels. You're going to feel something about it. You're going to relate to the characters, and it's just so well done.
And the watchability. You can watch these episodes over and over and over again.
Yes,
and they don't ever get boring.
They still feel new.
They're hilarious. Yep. And again, I've said this before on What's New in Nerd. Mm-hmm. If you have only watched this on Adult Swim and you have access to HBO Max, do yourself a favor and watch it on HBO Max.
Watch it on HBO
It's
Max.
also on Hulu as well.
Yes.
It's a
one of those
whole different show.
It is. And it's the same show, sure, but it really isn't.
Oh, my God.
There's so much more content, and just literally getting rid of the bleeps is a huge addition to the show.
And there's some extra scenes that weren't in the original.
Very true.
You can't air those on TV.
No. No.
For sure. And it just adds so much to the show. Now, generally, something like that, dropping F-bombs and whatever, just swearing, it can be done for shock value. It can be done for comedic effect, whatever. It really works in Rick and Morty.
Oh, God, yeah.
It really works.
Adds a lot of impact.
It does.
And, especially, obviously Rick Sanchez is the guy. He's like, Samuel L. Jackson of the cartoon world.
Well, I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker.
Well, they do it skillfully, though, because Rick is the Samuel L. Jackson, but Morty's not one that swears a lot. So when he does drop an F-bomb or something, it's just like, oh my God, Morty just fucking swore.
Yeah. It's a big impact. Yeah.
Just want to be a part of the fun.
Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, Summer. Fucking disgusting. You ruined the season 4 premiere. Season 4 premiere, you ruined it.
And again, with that fourth wall break, it's just so perfect. The show is absolutely incredible. If you've not watched this show, first of all, what are you doing watching this? Go watch Rick and Morty and then come back and watch this. But you're missing out if you're not watching this show. It's got everything for everyone, in my opinion. It's the perfect sci-fi show.
And I can't wait for season 5.
I cannot wait for season 5. Yes, and it's coming up really soon, June 20th.
June 20th, yeah.
The only thing I don't like about that is I will not be able to binge them. It'll be one episode at a time, and that sucks. But it's going to be great to have new content.
And I'll be interested to see how they go, because the end, like I said, at the end of season 3, you really thought they were going to explore that Evil Morty, Citadel, kind of the dark storyline they had in season 4, and season 4 is almost bereft of that.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that was on purpose,
probably,
because they don't want to give you what you're expecting.
Yeah, and that's great. I love that.
Right,
it's even better. That makes the show even better in my estimation. And season 4, the more you watch it, season 4 is so good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So good.
But it speaks to the creativity of the creators of the show. Is they want something that is fresh.
Yeah.
They know that you don't want to see the same storyline over and over again.
What's your favorite Rick and Morty episode?
Oh, it's so hard to choose. It really is. But I'm going to have to say that it is the season 4 premiere.
Okay.
Where we meet the president again.
Yeah.
And Rick and Morty are recruited to do a job, and they kind of slack off because whatever, Rick's into Minecraft all of a sudden after making fun of Morty for playing it. And then they infiltrate the Oval Office. And of course, I have to say it, my favorite quote in any of Rick and Morty so far has been, "I'm Doctor Who in this bitch," because he's in the Oval Office.
Of course it is.
But you know what? It's an obscure reference to, if someone is big into sci-fi and they know Doctor Who very well, they know exactly what he's talking about.
I've seen that episode, obviously.
Yeah. Where the 11th Doctor infiltrates the Oval Office.
He surely does.
And it's so cool. It's so well done.
Phil, who's the president that he infiltrates the Oval Office of?
Well, that'd be Richard Nixon.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
That is correct. Tricky Dick, as he calls him. But either way, I think that's my favorite episode. As a matter of fact, when I did a rewatch and watched through all the episodes, it's the only one I went back and watched twice.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that episode.
Mikey?
Mine's got to be my favorite episode. 100% has to be when they're locked in the house with the brain parasites that implant only the happy memories.
Oh my god! Because you get such a great episode.
Because you first of all, you get one of the most iconic characters Rick and Morty introduced, Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
There's 6 of us, and that's it. Me, Morty, Jerry, Beth, Mr. Poopy Butthole, and Summer.
But just the way that they're able to it's almost like a really long Family Guy episode, but each cutaway just leads into further in the plot. And things I just really liked how they...
It really does.
It's more like Family Guy, it just cuts away, there's a cutaway, and then they go back into the main, the A story, where each cutaway in the Rick and Morty episode of that, it's progressing the plot, which I think is important.
Comes back into the A story, but it brings somebody with it.
Yes, each time, because there's a new character involved, and then now we know who that character is.
No, you're right. It's a brilliantly written script, brilliantly written episode.
The best way is because how Morty is the hero of it and figures out how to stop parasites. I figured out memories. The only way the parasites can exist is to put good, happy memories in you. And I know you're real, Rick, because I have a ton of terrible memories with you.
Yeah, it is brilliant.
Which is good that Rick didn't erase all of them, because we find out later in Morty's Mind Blowers that he does.
Yeah,
he does erase a lot of them.
Were the red ones? The red ones are where you screwed up? Shut up, Morty.
I'm not a hack, Morty. I don't color code.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Whoa, this is a level 4.
It's great. So, Chuck, what's your favorite?
Phil's heard me say this before. I'm going to cheat. I think the most important episode is the Ricklantis Mixup.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think my favorite episode, honestly, the more I've watched it through, is the Vat of Acid.
The only Emmy-winning episode.
That episode is so damn
that won an
good.
Emmy?
Yes,
I believe it. I mean, it's a great episode. Yeah,
just the whole, Morty doing his thing with the video game and stopping and going back and forth, and then Rick at the end, just with the total evil.
That's right, you little bitch. It's the prestige. You prestige
Rick,
yourself.
how many did I kill?
Tell me, Morty. Every time you reset to smell Jessica's hair, every time you relive a satisfying fart, that's how many Mortys you've incinerated.
They're all real, Morty. That happened to every single one of those Mortys. All because I made fun of your vat of acid?
Every Rick has a vat.
And it's such a great episode.
It is.
It's, again, beautifully written, beautifully conceived.
Yeah.
Just shows... All 3 of those episodes that we talked about show the brilliance of these guys as writers and creators.
It really does, yeah.
And it's just a brilliant show.
And, I mean, each of us could have picked a different episode, and we could say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the show is such a beautifully written show.
Yeah.
It's well thought out. The continuity is, perfect in most cases. It's astounding.
Yeah.
It really is. As I said before, and I'll back it up and I'll say it again, it's a perfect sci-fi show.
I agree. I mean, it's probably my favorite show that's live on TV today.
Sure.
And between this and honestly The Mandalorian. It's between those 2 shows. I'm being completely honest.
Both excellent choices.
If I had to pick between, I don't know that I could.
Yeah.
They also give you 2 different areas of sci-fi, though, where The Mandalorian is more serious and it's more like the hero's journey, where Rick and Morty, it's more of it's all these different sitcoms.
The asshole's journey as a hero.
Journals.
Yeah.
Yeah, journeys.
It is.
But they're both brilliant, fabulous shows.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed. Well, I'll tell you what, I think that wraps it up for Rick and Morty. I am Phil. This is Mikey. That's Chuck. And that is the Nerd Card on Rick and Morty. We'd just like to remind you to like, subscribe, share, check out our first guest ever, Mikey. He does some excellent photography. Good dude.
Thank you for having me.
He'll be back. Good dude. He'll be back for sure. We're going to do season 5 of Rick and Morty.
That's it, season 5.
We're going to do it. Keep going. We're going to do that. It's going to be a month and a half. We don't know.
So
month and a half.
Morty, tell them what's on your nerd card.
With that, we will go ahead and say, what's on your nerd card? Thanks.
Ass bitch, and let me see what you got. Roll credits. Just shake that ass. Roll the credits. Go.